Welcome back to another episode of Naturally Tones, guys. So, what did I tell you the last time? Well, always in content for kill, right? So, of course, today I'm going to talk about rent versus buying a home. I'm not really getting to the nitty gritty of, buying the buying process and stuff. I mean, I've done that in previous videos, which I'm sure you guys have watched, right? So, today we're just going to compare the two because I have actually rented two different apartments prior to buying my home, and I could definitely say the experience is different. And I also want to bring across some of the benefits of renting over buying a home and some of the benefits of buying a home versus rented. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned. So when it comes to renting, most persons in Jamaica, they move out probably because of their situation, staying at a house with a bag of cousin and a bag of family, bag of sister, brother, mother, all of this. You say no, more step into my own. Sometimes it's because they're moving from parish to parish. You born and grow in a country, but you come a town, or you born and grow in a town, or you go a country, wherever the money there, you decide to pick up your bag and move out, right? And big up yourself for that in this economy, big up yourself. However, there are some positives and negatives as opposed to you having to move in, just into a house that you probably purchased, right? So, number one, a big pro is that you get your own space, and that's the same for both of these. So you get your own space that you can spread out, and nobody not gonna chat to you, and nobody not gonna bother you. Yeah, big people know you pay dirty money, and you can stay. But the pro when it's rent is that if you get your own space and you're not feeling it anymore, you can just look on the market and then move, right? Versus if you buy your home and you're not feeling that location anymore, sorry, honey, you're a little bit stuck. Selling a house in Jamaica takes anywhere between 6 months to a year, depending on, of course, the systems that you go through. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider. A house is a bigger commitment as opposed to rent. You can rent a place and then decide, okay, I'm not making enough money, or if you lost your job, and then if you have, a good enough family setting, then you can go back to your yard. But if you bought a house that was out of budget and then you realize that you can't manage it anymore, I'm sorry, is either gonna have discussions with the bank or your loan, your loan officer, or unfortunately you go put it back on the market and then wait 6 months to a year to sell that house. Another pro and con is furniture. So when you go into a rented space, if it is that it's not furnished already, then you're gonna have to buy a few things to live comfortable. Not true. So you're gonna need your stove, your fridge, and of course, I'm gonna have a video up there that talks about the things that you're gonna need when you're moving in, or at least the things that I recommend, right? And it's similar to when you buy your house. The difference is that if you go buy stuff to fit that rented space there, and then the landlady come and say, well, our son moved back from foreign and he want the house, and then you are forced to move out, or if you're just not comfortable with that setting and you're forced to move out, unfortunately the next place you rent may not match the sizing of your furniture. So whereas you may have gotten a large 3-bedroom, a 3-bedroom house, right? Let's say they go Clarendon or Mandeville. You get a 3-bedroom house and that's where you're living. And that's for rent, right? So you'd have bought, your big king size bed, you'd have buy a big fridge, your 2-door fridge, Samsung, all of these things, right? But then you might have to move back to Kingston because of certain circumstances. Or again, the landlady come and say, yeah, wrap it up, your time up. And you may have to cut in a one-bedroom apartment in Kingston or a studio, and I'm telling you, all that stuff won't fit. And 9 times out of 10, what you buy for, you can't sell it back for, because the truth is, Jamaicans don't want to old broke unless them not a choice. Them don't want to old broke, and if them go take old broke, it have to be slashed prices. So you find that you end up with a bigger loss. Versus if you bought your home, then all the things that you buy for that space, it's for that space. Even if you decide to turn it into an investment property where you're doing Airbnb, you know that furniture is going to be used. You can also opt to say, okay, I'm going to rent my home. I'm going to rent the house I'm going to pay for. And tell the person, say, it come furnished, right? So that way you don't really lose out on that investment. Another pro and con when comparing renting versus owning your own home is, of course, paying that mortgage fee. Now, I will say though, in my mama's time, back in the day, it was a lot easier to just stay renting and then, buy a house when you're bigger. Because back then, my mother was paying like $15,000, $10,000 for rent, all right? And then as opposed to buying a house that would be like 50,000, 60,000, so more than double or even 3 times the amount. Now in this economy, things are like basically side by side, because where I was living, where I was renting, I was paying 76,000 a month. I moved here, I'm paying 72, 76, same way. So what's the difference? I own the place. So right now in Jamaica, the mortgage is comparable to a good apartment or a good house that you would rent. So whereas, I'm not gonna say it's easy to get the house, I'm gonna do a video for top wall, the rigmarole where I have to go through if you buy a house. But I am saying, if you're gonna compare those things, mortgage versus paying rent, that's definitely something to consider. Another thing about the rent versus mortgage is that the rent increases. The rent increases based on how your landlord feel. And even if you didn't feel that way, there's actually a law that says that they can increase it by 7% every year. Can you believe that? 7% every year, and we all know so we're not getting a pay increase every year. So we want to know who did I go pay that. So versus your mortgage, it stays the same. Like whatever them tell you it is, that is the fee, and you're gonna pay that for what? The next 45 years. But we're not trying to pay the mortgage 45 years. We're gonna try to pay it off as quickly as possible, right? But you don't have any surprises where that is concerned. So, and another thing, listen, I know I keep saying another thing, but I tell you, paying rent sometimes is really a pain. Another con that comes with renting your own home, right, is the collection process. Now, you would like to think that all, landlord, landladies, they accept like a bank transfer, right? Listen, man, tell you, enough of them want to walk, come at your gate and collect that money. So you can imagine now, you get paid, right? Most people get paid in a month. You get paid. If you stand up at the long line at whichever banking institution you have, right? Pull that money there, walk with that amount of money upon you, and then sit down on the weekend or whichever day them say for them to collect the money from you, and I'll account it in front of you. Yeah, no. Mortgage is a transfer. In fact, it's a standing order. So no, you're not gonna have to draw no money from no ATM, incurring charges. No, the bank will set it up so that you can just pay the money once you get paid, right? So that's definitely a massive plus that I found in owning a home versus renting. Most think that renting is all bad. Here's a pro for renting: maintenance. Okay, so I can't speak about the country lots. I can't speak outside of Kingston and St. Andrew, but when you rent an apartment in Kingston, it comes with maintenance. What does that mean? Your lawn get cut, you have your parking space, nobody naga or see you. You see, when you buy a house, are you have to deal with the landscaper? Are you have to deal with the gardener? Are you have to deal with the manhole? Are you have to deal with the sewage? Are you anything go wrong, sis, sir? It is you. So whereas with the rent now, I say, all right, I don't need to cut the lawn, but just have to tell the landlady, say, oh, the grass is growing high, and they'll take care of it. As I said, this is not in every situation, but in the places that I have lived in, where I try to make sure that maintenance is included, I'm not have them worries and concerns that get started. So for example, if you even how me I feel buckle out with cricket over here, and then me hear my neighbor tell me say him and the crab them a war, like bruh. Yeah, we have to fix that. Tony and me have to go fix that. There's nobody to call to say, hey, may I have this issue, please let me start. No, there's nobody to call. It is you. With rent now, you call landlady, you call the groundsman, you say, hello, hi. There are crabs running around, there are mice running around. I didn't for sort this out. And if them don't deal with it, you can pack up your things and go. Yeah, me now, with my house, I'm stuck. A pro that I think exists between both renting and owning your own home is creative freedom. And again, it depends on where you rent. So I know persons would want to probably change the color and install panels and stuff, and really and truly it's just not a good investment idea. But for most renting situations, as long as you give back the house in the condition that it was given to you, then there's no problem. So you can get creative and do what you want to. Just know, say, your investment is for when you are there. When you're leaving, you cannot take it with you. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because when you don't pull off them panel there, you have to go use putty and patch it up back, right? If you change that house color, you're gonna have to change it back. Very few landlords I know will say, oh yeah man, you can make the color stay as is. No, you're gonna have to paint it back to the OG color. So something to keep in mind. When you buy a house, you can change the color 10, 15, 20, any amount of time you want, right? So that's definitely a plus. You have a lot more creative freedom in terms of what you want to do. However, though, when you're buying a house or an apartment, there is some restrictions that may come with just that location. So for example, with my home, I can't just change the outside color to what I want. There is a standard for the community, right? So that's more of a pro and con about where you buy a house. But I'm just saying there's more creative freedom with buying your house as opposed to renting if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint. So you can get creative with both, but if you do it in your own home, the investment makes more sense for the long run. Another pro that I noticed, of course, with renting apartments in Kingston is the security of it. So I'm not gonna say you can't be secure in your own home, but what I would say, it's like ready-made security when it comes to a rented space, right? So a lot of these apartments will have like a security guard, they'll have cameras, as in the good places. We're not talking about the one that wouldn't make sense. We're talking about the sensible places, right? Same place where you pay the good maintenance for, them place them, right? So you guarantee somebody will watch your things and take care. With buying a new home, yeah, especially if it's a new development, yeah, that not really guaranteed. You are gonna have to invest and put those measures in place to make sure that your house is secured. Because a few neighbors are telling me how people are thief them sand and them stone and them flower pot, and I'm like, bruh. That would have never happened at my old apartment. Never, because them security there watch it like a hawk. Yeah, so that's definitely something to consider. I hope this video was helpful, especially if you're trying to decide between continuing to rent and buying a home, or if you're also thinking, should I just rent anywhere? No, rent where you want to live, okay? Buy where you can afford to be, right? So you rent where you want to live, and you buy where you can afford to be, all right? Because it doesn't really make sense. You're paying somebody else's mortgage and you're uncomfortable in that space. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Naturally Tones, guys. I really hope this helped. Hearts. Have a good weekend. Bye.